All right, we are now live. You want to kick us off, Michelle?
Awesome. Okay, this is Michelle Christensen, and I'm here with Becky Sangha, and this is Pinterest Marketing for Solopreneurs. And first of all, before we even do anything, I just have to cop to one thing, which is that I have two dogs, and they're kind of loud sometimes, and I do work at home, so you might hear them in the background. Hopefully they're taken care of, but sometimes they bark. So anyway, a lot of you know me because you're here because I invited you. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm a speaker, strategist, and champion for solopreneurs or one-person businesses. And I teach people how to have a profitable, sustainable one-person business that earns them a nice living while serving others with their gifts or talents. I consider myself a champion because part of my mission is to get the word out. In spite of the fact that the U.S. Census Bureau says that about 3/4 of U.S. businesses have no employees, a lot of people still don't know that this is a viable long-term business model and not just a stepping stone to a bigger company. I've been in business since 2009 as a solopreneur, and so that's 5 years as a solopreneur, and you can still find me, and you can find me online at michellechristensen.com, and I'm going to spell that out for you just in case we need that link later in the webinar. It's MicheleChristensen.com. So today I'm really excited to be hosting this webinar with Becky Sangha. She's a video expert and a video marketing expert, as well as the creator of the system Business Marketing with Pinterest. She is my personal go-to person for all Pinterest questions, and I've been in a mastermind with Becky for almost 2 years, and she consistently gives me really great guidance for my business. Her support and business wisdom have made a huge difference in my business over those last 2 years. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I attended a webinar that Becky taught on Pinterest, and prior to that, I have dabbled in Pinterest and read enough to know that it has really big potential. But that webinar really opened my eyes. She gave a ton of great ideas that we could use right away and some of the big picture, sort of more strategic framework for using Pinterest. It was really powerful, and it got me really excited to dig in more with Pinterest. And seeing the potential of Pinterest for solopreneurs, I asked her if she would do this webinar for my community of solopreneurs, and she agreed. So let me hand it over to her, and we'll get started with the webinar. Becky?
Thanks, Michelle. That was such a great introduction. Okay, a little bit about me. I'm a video producer, an online marketing strategist, and speaker and author. I have not always been a techie geek. I used to know nothing about technology, but I realized that it was really what I needed to do to learn it and to implement it in order to market my business well and to work with my customers and clients. So I have become a techie geek, but because of my previous experience with not being very technologically inclined, I feel like it gives me the ability to teach others in a way that helps them to understand and implement quickly without getting overwhelmed by the technology and the techie sides of things. So let's talk about the facts as we get into Pinterest. You know, a lot of us suffer from the syndrome of if you build it, they will come. Meaning, if we build our websites and we have a terrific looking website, that a lot of us just expect that people will come to it and want to purchase our products or services. Well, unfortunately, that isn't the case. In order to get your websites to work for you and to get those customers and clients that you're looking for from your online marketing, you have to drive referral traffic to your website. So how do we do that? Well, we do that by using social media. And when we use social media, what we want to do is to find our audience where they are. Okay. Most people online today are logging into some form of social media one time or another. So in order to find our audience, instead of just hoping that they come to us, we go to where they are on social media. Social media also helps us to amplify our marketing message. It helps us to brand our businesses and to build relationships. But ultimately, we use social media to drive traffic back to our websites.
One of the things I noticed is when I started to check the traffic that I was getting from Pinterest, it's just not only is it's referral traffic, meaning people go to Pinterest and then find my site, but the traffic quality is very high, meaning that they tend to stay on my site for a while and view several pages while they're there. So that is exactly the kind of visitor you want. It's someone that is interested in what you offer and gets to your site and stays on your site for a while.
That is so true, Michelle, because like I said, it's not just that you're getting traffic to your site, you're getting quality referral traffic to your website. That means that they're already interested in you because they found something about you over on Pinterest that sparked their interest, and now they're at your website, and so they're much more likely to stay there for a period of time and take action on whatever offers you have over there. Okay, now the facts about Pinterest. Pinterest drives more referral traffic to business websites than LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube combined. In fact, it's the 4th largest traffic driver worldwide. Now, Pinterest web traffic referrals went up 66.5% between September of 2012 and 2013. That's huge. It's amazing the amount of referral traffic that Pinterest is sending to our websites. So you can obviously see that Pinterest is a traffic driving powerhouse. But what happens when referrals from Pinterest land on your website? Well, let's take a look at this last statistic here, folks, because this is very, very interesting to me. And that's that website visitors referred from Pinterest are 10% more likely to buy and spend on average 10% more than visitors who arrive from other social networks. And in the end, that's what we really want, isn't it? I mean, let's face it, that most of us are not on social media to win a popularity contest. I know I'm not. I don't want a bunch of followers to have followers. I want followers to take action, to make good on my offers and to buy my services and products. And that's what is going to make the difference for us in increasing our income. Because at the end of the day, that's what all of us who are in business are using social media for, is to make more money. Am I right? I mean, yes, there's relationship building that has to happen there, but the end goal is to make money. So what is the number one thing that people do on Pinterest? Well, you might be thinking, well, gee, Becky, it's the only thing people can do on Pinterest, right? Pin images? Well, yes, but more specifically, they are repinning. The number one thing that people do across all of the top 5 social media sites is to share images. So using images in your social media to make money is critical. And Pinterest provides an unbridled opportunity with photos that no one else does. And we're going to get to that in a minute, but first let's talk about some of the misconceptions. Now, the first misconception is that Pinterest is only for women, and statistically speaking, there are more women than men, but the uptake by men has been at a higher rate over the past year. So what do men post? Well, they post things about sports, travel, electronic gadgets, home repair, social media marketing, venture capitalism, which is actually among the top 10 interests of all Pinterest users, SEO, business, architecture, photography, lots and lots of stuff. So men are on Pinterest and they're growing. Their numbers are growing on Pinterest. The second misconception is that it's for hobbyists. And even if you look at the response to that last misconception, that's obviously not true. People are pinning things about business and people are doing business on Pinterest. But it is true that it started out as sort of a digital scrapbook. Now it's become a place, it's a little bit more organized, and there's an amazing marketing potential on Pinterest, and businesses are finding it an excellent platform for disseminating marketing messages. The third misconception is that Pinterest is only for individuals. And looking at those traffic driving statistics that I showed you earlier, you can obviously see how this idea that Pinterest is only for individuals is a myth. Now, here are some of the brands that you can find there. You can find Lowe's, Pet Plan Insurance, Wall Street Journal, Benjamin Moore, GE, Etsy, AmeriFirst Home Mortgage, Sephora, AMD Processors, which does computer workstations, Angie's List, Honda. Okay, so maybe you might be thinking, okay, well, those are all big businesses. Is it only for big business? Well, on this page that you can see, it's not, because these are all small businesses. Snickety, which is a natural food company. There's an after-hours virtual assistant. Satisfaction Images, they provide graphic art and photography. Apex Carpentry in Utah. Cinch Media, Four Corners USA, TSR Real Estate Group. There are also healers, authors, business consultants, web designers, local and online retailers. So obviously, business is getting done on Pinterest. So what are the biggest distinctions between other social media sites and Pinterest? Well, let's talk first in terms of numbers. There are 70 million Pinterest users, while Facebook boasts 1.23 billion users. That's quite a difference. But we don't really care so
Becky,
much about...
you're starting to break up a little bit. Did you hear that? You're starting to break up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? I haven't moved at all, but...
It was sort of gradually getting worse, and then it was starting to echo. Maybe flip your microphone off and on, see if that resets it.
Okay. I'll flip it on and off and see what happens.
Yeah, now you're perfectly clear.
Okay, so everything sounds good now, Michelle?
You know what? I'm still getting a little bit of an echo.
A little bit of an echo. Okay, are you hearing...
Like a little staticky when you're talking.
Staticky. I haven't changed, moved, or anything, so...
I have a love-hate relationship with technology.
It's my afternoon, yes.
Yeah.
Somehow things just aren't... Is it okay now?
I'm still hearing the static. I'm not getting any complaints from anyone else, though, so it might be, you know, something between our setup.
Okay. Well, let me continue, and then let me know if you're getting any feedback from anybody online, and I can stop and try to see if I can do anything else. But since I haven't changed anything, I'm going to try not to change much, and we'll just keep going here.
Yeah, okay, and so you can hear. You can
what we were talking about is that there are 70 million Pinterest users, and only 1.23 billion Facebook users. So that's a huge difference. But we don't care so much about how many people have accounts on these social media sites. What we care more about is their activities. So let's look at that. In the last month, 27 million people visited Facebook every day, and 14 million people visited Pinterest per day. That's half as much, but that's still 50% of everybody who's over on Facebook. That's still a lot of people, an amazing amount of people. So let's take a look at what happens on Facebook versus Pinterest. People over on Facebook are sharing what's happening at the moment. They post a status update. Their status at the moment is what they're posting. Now, photos and videos are still #1 for what's being shared on Facebook. And when you share a photo on Facebook and one of your followers or friends clicks on the photo, what happens? Well, as you can see here on this slide, it opens up the album they posted the photo to, and you can see all the comments that people made. Your traffic driving links are still back in the copy of your status update. They didn't come over here with the photo. So if people wanted to click on a link that you might have shared in your status, they're going to have to go back to that status update because it's not here on your photo. So that requires an extra step. And, you know, we're lazy when we're online, and we don't like extra steps. Now, this is different if you have a business page. You can actually post some photos that could be clickable links. But still, most of the photos that you share, even on your Facebook page timeline, are not clickable images. They take you to your photo album. The only time this is different is when you create an ad, and I'll get into that in a minute. But one thing that you should also know is that if you have a Facebook page, then every time you make a status update on your page, on average, only 16% of all of your followers will see it in their timeline. That's not very much, especially considering that if you're working Facebook correctly, you're posting 2 to 5 times a day. But only 16% of your followers are going to see them. Now, the only time that your photos can link directly to your website or sales page and get into more people's timeline feeds is if you place an ad, as I mentioned before, which means you're paying for it. Okay, so now let's talk about what's happening over on Pinterest. Pinterest pins differ from status updates in that every image you post or pin gets into the Pinterest feed of all of your followers, regardless of if you have a personal or business page, and every pin can be a clickable link to a site if it's posted right. Now, another distinction is the spending. While Facebook sends more traffic to retail sites, Pinterest traffic spends more money, and it's not just on retail. So what's the biggest distinction of all between Facebook and Pinterest? Well, there's actually two other big distinctions, and I'm going to talk about them just a little bit later. But right now, let's talk about the biggest objection for solopreneurs in starting to use another social media network. And that, of course, is time. Right? That's the thing that's hardest for all of us. Yeah, Michelle. So it's something that we all run short on. We should be exercising every day and paying bills and blogging and posting on Facebook and LinkedIn. I don't want to add anything more that's going to take more time, and I'm sure that you don't want to either, unless it's going to be something that produces a lot of results. Now, Michelle, did anybody else write in about how much time they're spending on the other social media sites? Did people respond about the amount of time that they're spending over there?
Not to that specifically, no. But I think we can safely assume that anyone that does any social media is spending more than 10 minutes a week.
Yeah. You know, when I try to get on Facebook a couple of times a day, and it really takes no less than 20 minutes each time. And that's really if I just stay out of the Facebook feed and try not to look at anything else. So that makes it kind of hard. But one of the things that I want to promise you is that you can work Pinterest to your business's interest in just 10 minutes a week. Now remember, we don't choose a social media platform to use because we love the social media platform. We don't market on social media because we want to win a popularity contest or to socialize. We do it to make money. And it doesn't matter what the platform is, we just need to find a successful strategy to make more money with little effort in the shortest amount of time. So in this workshop, I'm going to break down the 3-step formula for Pinterest success. I'm going to show you how to get 100 plus targeted followers each week. I'll identify 3 ways that you can make money with Pinterest. I'm going to show you how you can do it all, creating almost no unique content. And we're going to do a live critique of one of Michelle's Pinterest pins. This is going to be a really interesting part of the webinar because Michelle and I have not rehearsed this. Michelle sent me one of her pins and said, would you like to critique this on air? It's gotten a lot of repins, but I don't know if it's doing what it should be for me. And so I'd love to have your critique. And I said, sure. So we are going to do that live. It's going to be very fun and interesting. So that will be the 5th thing that we cover. And the last thing will be the 3 big mistakes that businesses make and how to avoid them, plus the 1 thing that could get you banned. Now, first, let me tell you a little bit about why I started using Pinterest. Last year, I became curious about Pinterest. I, too, was originally fooled by the myths. I thought it was really much more for hobbyists. But in an effort to maintain my cutting-edge reputation and to provide my community with the best possible marketing solutions, I decided to try it. And like most people, I really didn't have a clue how to do it right initially. So I educated and trained myself, and I started. And to my amazement, I started getting followers right away. Now, mind you, I don't have a huge, massive following on Pinterest, but what I do have are very active followers who are sharing my pins with everyone they know. And here are my results. Pinterest is the top referral source for traffic to my websites. This is my Google Analytics report for January 2013. Now, I recently announced this to my community, and one woman wrote back and said that, you know, Becky, that's really great, but you already have an email list with hundreds of followers. All you had to do was send them an email and ask them to follow you over on Pinterest, and, you know, you're set. What about us solopreneurs who are just starting out or don't have a huge list or a large following on other social media sites? Well, to tell you the truth, I was a little put off by this at first because I didn't email my list or actively promote my Pinterest page to my followers on other social media sites at first. But I did accept her remark as a challenge. And I decided to compile all of the knowledge and experience that I had gained and to use it to start a new Pinterest page for someone else's business to see if I could get the same results. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time. After I set up the page, I only spent about 10 minutes a week for a couple of weeks. But look at these results. Now, this is a report created by Optimizati.com. They are SEO experts, and they handle the SEO for San Diego Coast Rentals, who is the client of mine that I built the Pinterest page for. So Optimizati sent me their, this is their analytics report. This is for the last week of January, and actually it's for the month of January, excuse me, and here is what happened for them. Pinterest became the third top referral source out of 20 for their website. And again, that's just in only a couple weeks. Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing. That is really,
pretty amazing.
really amazing.
It amazed me. I was pretty happy by it. So let's talk about this three-step formula. How do we get going on Pinterest? Well, first we need to target the right audience. Then we need to get that audience to share with their audiences, giving you better reach. And third, we need to make offers. So let's talk about how to find the best audience. Finding good audiences often has to do with looking at what some of your competitors are doing. Okay, so if you go onto Pinterest and you look at people in your field who are over there and you look them up, you will see all of their followers. And targeting these followers is a great way to get your own followers. Also looking at brands that share the same target market and that have already assembled a large audience over on Pinterest. There's also tools like Pinwood, which is a free tool that helps you to get more followers and repins, and then you can also schedule pins with it. Another way is to comment. Oh, I thought I had another slide about comment, but let's see. There we go. Okay, so to comment, and then also to like and to post on group boards. And the next way is to auto-share with Facebook and Twitter. Now, how many of you would like to share once and have it post 3 different places without having to use an auto-scheduling tool like Hootsuite or Buffer? Well, I'd like that. I think it would be great. And you can do that with Pinterest. How many of you would like to have your post go viral, exposing you to an exponential amount of prospects? Well, remember when I said that there were 2 other big distinctions between Facebook and Pinterest? Well, one of them is sharing. 80% of total Pinterest pins are repins. So what does that mean to you and me? Well, every time someone repins your image on Pinterest, they are referring you to all of their followers. And it's not just their followers on Pinterest, because many Pinterest users have their Facebook and their Twitter accounts linked to their Pinterest account. So let me show you how with just one click of a button, repins can be shared on Facebook and Twitter too. Now on this slide you can see an image that I was pinning, and it asked me to choose a board to post it to. Boards are how you organize your pins, and then you write a description, and I'll talk more about this a little bit later. But then look at the 2 check boxes at the bottom there. It says post to Facebook, post to Twitter. All you have to do is check those boxes and click that red pin it button, and you are done. You have just posted a pin to Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter with 1 click. Just imagine the money that you could make by having one of your pins repinned and shared across Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter. Do you see how powerful this is?
Yeah,
It's
that's
really,
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it really gives you and your followers the ability to share so much with just 1 click. Now, you might be saying that's really great, but I already knew that, Becky. What else can you tell me? Well, did you also know that you can participate on group boards, and that when you pin there, it also reaches the entire audience for that board, which is all of the followers of all of the people who post on that board. So let's take a look at a group board that I participate in. It's called Social Media. If you look up in that corner, you'll see those three little heads. That's what tells you that this is a group board. And there are 263 people who have been invited to post. So there's 263 people, 263 of us who post different posts about social media. And when we post, all of the followers of all of those 263 people get that post. So can you see what I mean by exponential reach? You can also easily follow all of the people who share to that board, which is accessible here. Now, why would you want to do that? Because the people on these boards are highly targeted folks. Remember, we talked about that we want highly targeted followers. We don't want followers just to have followers. We want followers who really are looking for and wanting our products and services. And when we find a group board that has a target audience that is our target audience, then these are highly targeted followers. And we want to follow them so that they follow us back. And when they do that, they will receive all of our offers that we pin. They are also more likely to repin because they're familiar with you on the group board, which provides you with additional exposure. So what's the plan then for finding an audience? It's, again, find and add followers from your competitors and from brands with the same target market and also on group boards. And doing this, you can easily add 100 followers per week. Now, you might be saying 100 followers per week. I want more than that. Why not more? Well, there's a limit for how many you can follow each day, and that's 300. And what I'm telling you is that I think that you can spend less than 10 minutes a week and be successful on Pinterest. So that means you're probably only going to get on one time and spend 10 minutes. So if you only market on Pinterest one day a week, then you will only follow 300 a week. That would be your maximum. Now, I find that about 35 to 50% of folks that I follow back. So on the safe side, that would be about 100 followers a week. Isn't that worth trying? I mean, for at least a month, that's 400 people in a month with only 10 minutes a week.
I mean, that's huge and really powerful. 10 minutes a week is just nothing. I mean, you can do that while you're having your morning coffee. I mean, it's nothing. And imagine at the end of the month, you'd have 400 targeted followers. Like, that's just really, powerful.
Yeah, it really is. And that's what I like about Pinterest, and especially for us solopreneurs, because we don't have time to be doing a lot more work. We really need to find something that's going to work for us in a short amount of time, and that's what I love about Pinterest. Now, think about what would happen if one of those pins went viral. You know, tens of thousands of people could see it in just a few days. It's really the only place that you can do this for free. Pinterest has initiated promoted posts, but most people aren't doing it, and everything that I've talked about doing here today is completely free. Whereas on Facebook, it's almost impossible to really reach a great audience over on Facebook without doing ads. So finding followers who are already assembled on group boards or as followers on other Pinterest pages with the same target market is really the key to growing our audience. So now let's talk about the 3 ways to make money on Pinterest. So first is to sell your own products, your solutions, or books. The second is to offer services, and third is commission on affiliate offers. Now, for those of you who don't understand affiliate marketing, I'm just going to explain it briefly here, but affiliate marketing consists of promoting other people's products or services through your online, offline marketing, like website, blog, social media, video, network marketing, speaking events, things like that, and then receiving a commission when someone purchases the product or the service that you are promoting. Now, this works really well for promoting evergreen products or products that people put up and will be there for a lifetime, because you can create pins that promote those products, and for the entire lifetime of the pin, which is as long as you leave it up on your Pinterest page, when somebody clicks on it, you could make money from it. And you can repin it periodically for maximum exposure as well. So let's talk about content. Now, in order to be on Pinterest, you have to be posting content. And the only thing that you can put on Pinterest are pictures, images, or videos. Now, the more content, the more potential you have to leverage your audience. However, creating content constantly is time consuming, and I promised you that I would steer you clear of more time sucking activities. So what is the solution? Well, almost all of the content that you share on Pinterest should be repurposed content from within Pinterest or on the internet. You know, YouTube? Everybody loves videos, right? And everybody shares YouTube videos. You see a great YouTube video, you share it with people all over the internet, on your Facebook and Google or wherever you happen to be. Well, you can take almost any video and share it on Pinterest to help you get more traffic. What you have to do is find an engaging video that someone else created, but that you can relate to your business. You share it with your followers. But the key is that you need to monetize it. So how do you do that? Well, you add a comment in the description area with a call to action and your website URL or your Sage sales page or your affiliate link URLs. Now let me give you an example of that. So this is a YouTube video that somebody shared. They repinned it. It's not their video, but the person who repinned it does have a related field that they are in. This video is about a lower back workout, and the person who shared it does physical therapy, and they have a prevention routine that they offer. Now, when this person shared it, they weren't very clear in their description about who they are and what they have to offer. But when they shared it, if they would have written what I have here in the example, great lower back workout video. I offer free injury prevention routine. Click here for an instant download, and their website. That would have really probably provided them better traffic to their websites. Now, you might be thinking, is it really that easy? Can I really just go find somebody else's YouTube video, relate it to my business, type in a description, with a call to action on my website, and people start going to my website? And the answer is yes, it really is that easy. You can also pin images and videos from sites anywhere on the internet using the Pin It button in your browser. This is, I've kind of enlarged it here on the right, but you can see the small Pin It button that's right next to the search area on your browser. And all you have to do is click this anywhere that you are on the internet. And like I did on this site, this is Mashable, and this was a couple weeks ago during the Winter Olympics. And when I clicked the Pin It button, these are all the images on their website that became available for me to pin. There's 16 images there. That's 16 pins I could create from one website. Pretty cool.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get that pin button that you showed in your browser?
Well, if you go to Pinterest, they have some tools. If you just look up Pinterest or look up the Pin It button, it will take you to the link, and all you have to do is there's a one-click button that says to add it to your browser. It automatically detects what browser you're using. So I use Chrome, but it will detect, you know, if you're using Mozilla Firefox or Safari or Explorer, whatever browser that you're using, it detects it, and then you just click a button and it adds it to your browser. It's really quite simple, and such an effective tool to use. It really helps you to create pins no matter where you're at, and even on your own website. You know, when I first started on Pinterest, I had a lot of blog articles with photos already embedded in them on my blog. So when I started creating pins, I just used that Pin It button when I was over on my website, clicked on the image, created a pin, and it was a direct pin going to that blog article, and I didn't have to recreate anything new because I already had so much content over there. And that's one thing that people forget, is that you already have probably a lot of content over on your website. So use that Pin It button, go to your own website, and pin as many of the images that you have over there as you can, because those are already created and nothing new that you need to invest your time in.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah. So you can also pin images and videos from sites that are anywhere as well. So what about services? Does this work for people who are providing services? Yes. do you know how many people are on Pinterest because they're trying to figure out how to do something, or they want to get inspired, or they're looking for an answer to their question? If they stumble upon your pin and you have a great offer or an inspiration or advice or the answer to their question, don't you think they'll be curious about you and want to connect with you? You bet. Of course they will. So that's how they get to your website, because they see those pins that have those little inspirational tips or an answer to their question, and then they want more, and so they go to your website. What about list building? Can you use Pinterest to help you build your list? Yes. My list doubled since I started using Pinterest. And there's actually one pin almost specifically that's doing most of the traffic driving. And that's another thing, is when you start your Pinterest account, you'll be able to get analytics, if you use a business account, to be able to see what pins are working for you best. And those are the ones that you want to put on the top row of your Pinterest page. Okay.
Becky, how have you done list building with Pinterest?
Again, it's just putting on what I did is I put up a pin, and then in the description I put a little tip, and then I put in a teaser, basically, of if you'd like. What I use, because I'm a video marketer, is a video script template. And so I put a video tip up on my Pinterest page where I said that, using video to build your list is a really great conversion tool. And then I said, if you'd like to have an exact script template for a video that will help you convert, you click here. And so it's a clickable link. They go right to an email opt-in form, and when they sign up, they get an automatic download for a little video that tells them exactly how to write the script for their list building video.
So you pin an image from the opt-in page for your list building.
I actually just created a tip image. And you can use PowerPoint for this, but I just created a page on PowerPoint, and I put the tip just in text, so it's not. And then I put my logo on there, and then again there was a link that said, if you'd like the exact script for a video to build your list, click here.
Wow!
And then I use that as a pin, and that's one of my highest converting pins for my list building.
Wow. So that's actually, I just want to underscore how simple that is. You just wrote a little tip and made a simple graphic using PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. And in the comment, you have a description saying, hey, if you want my video script, click here.
Exactly.
I mean, that's incredibly simple and incredibly effective.
Yeah. And that's another thing is, for people who feel like they don't have very visual businesses, your pins don't have to be these wonderful, beautiful photos and graphic images. You can just create a PowerPoint slide with some text on it with a tip and put your logo on it, and those are still images that you can pin on Pinterest.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I thought about that when you were showing some of the bigger businesses that were on Pinterest, and two that really caught my eye are the Wall Street Journal, and there was a mortgage banker or a mortgage service, and it's like, talk about a non-visual thing, like how do you make visual stuff out of mortgages, Yeah.
Again, it's just creating, putting tips, mm-hmm. a couple of sentences on a page and creating a pin out of it. That's really all you need. And I recommend putting your logo on it too, more for branding than anything.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it simple and recognizable. Like, you don't have to recreate some sort of a fancy graphic. Just put the wording up with your logo.
Exactly. I think I had that. Let's see if I go back. Where was that? Well, maybe I have it coming up that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we'll take a look. I'll point it out when I get to that. So let's move on to other gold mines on Pinterest. Let's talk about commenting. Now, when you make a comment on a pin, every time it's repinned, your comment gets repinned along with it. And the reason why this is important is because this means it's traveling around on Pinterest and possibly on Facebook, on Twitter too, if people are sharing there, and your comment is going with it. Now, I have somebody who's part of my community, and he sells cool electronic products. His name is Mark Rogers, and he's the owner of Pacific Marketplace. Shout out to Mark. And so I found this product on Pinterest. It's a really cool phone that finds your lost keys, and then your keys can also find your lost phone. So it works both ways. But, you know, lots of people have commented. You can see here it actually goes down about 20 comments, but most of it's like, oh, that's really cool, I like this, you know, that kind of thing. But if I was a retailer of this product, I could write, this is one of my best-selling products, hard to keep them in stock. Now, as this travels around the internet, whether on Pinterest, Facebook, or Twitter, and people see that comment, they're probably pretty likely to click on what you'll see is my headshot and name, because they know that I sell this. So if they're interested in it, they might just click there instead of going anywhere else. So it's a way for you to put yourself out there and be shared more around the internet, especially on Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter, by just making a quick comment. Now, videos I mentioned, but 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute over on YouTube. Now, with those kinds of numbers, your videos can get lost in the crowd. And a lot of people do have a hard time getting their videos seen over on YouTube. But on Pinterest, posting videos is still relatively new. But people love them. And in fact, they can now even filter their searches to find only videos in their results. So if they go over to Pinterest and they're looking up something specifically, they can actually click on that video button that I have circled there, and their answer will come up only in videos. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of searches, remember the two big distinctions between Facebook and Pinterest that I mentioned? Well, the first was the way posts get shared on multiple social media interfaces with one click. But the second big distinction is searches. People on Facebook are mostly there to post and read from their timeline. They don't really look to see what their friends posted yesterday, and they rarely look up topics of interest in searches. They discover interesting things over on Facebook because it's in their timeline. Their friends have posted it, or they see some sponsored ads. But people are searching for their interests on Pinterest. This gives your posts on Pinterest more power because you are not relying on them to get exposure only in the timeline feed when you post them. People searching for your products and services can find them no matter when they were originally posted. In fact, if I go back to that slide with that, with this lost key and lost phone finder cover, you'll see that it was actually pinned 1 year ago. Okay, but it's still getting repinned. It's been repinned 484 times, and people are still making comments on it. So it's still a relevant pin that people are finding. I found it quite by accident, to be honest with you. Okay, so...
Hey, Becky, could you just go over that once more, just so we're clear? When people are on Facebook, like you log in and you look at your Facebook feed and you see, you know, the most current things, the things that were posted a couple minutes ago, and, you know, if you have a lot of friends, that's going to flow really quickly. And it sounds like you're saying that most of the time people won't search and they won't go very far. But on Pinterest, people use the search much more often, and the stuff kind of lives forever, so it has a much greater potential to be found. Is that kind of
exactly
accurate?
Right?
Okay.
Exactly right. And people are finding more things on Pinterest because they're searching for it. In fact, many people report that when they go on Pinterest, they don't even look at the feed because they're there specifically wanting to look something up, and they just go right to the search bar, they type in what they're searching for, and that's how they start poking around on Pinterest.
That's interesting, because that's a big, like, fundamental difference in the way people use the two.
Big, big difference, and that's why you can market in less than 10 minutes a week, because you don't have to be relevant in the timeline feed right now for people to find you. If you did, you'd need to be on there every day, and you'd need to be on there several times a day.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, you know, you think about that one you pointed out, the phone and key finder. That's a year old, and it's, you know, still getting pinned. You found it. I mean, that's just really a great way to leverage what you do. Like you pin something once and forever you'll get the benefit of that.
Right. And Pinterest pins, boards, and profiles can come up in Google searches. So you're not just being found over on Pinterest, but you can actually be found in Google with your Pinterest profile and as well as your pins and boards. So here I have this. I just pulled this up this morning. I did a search on video marketing tips, and I was pretty happy that it actually came up first, second, and third. But the third thing down is actually my Pinterest profile. That's what came up in the Google search. So this is a great opportunity for you to have more things that are filling up this first page of Google. You know, if you've got a website, here you can see I've got a website, a blog, and my Pinterest profile are coming up and filling up those first three organic categories in the search. And then, you know, a LinkedIn profile, whatever other profiles you're ever going to fill up that page too, which really knocks your competition down on lower pages in Google searches. So that's a really great reason why you should be on Pinterest, because it's another thing that helps you become more findable over in the Google searches. Now the reality is people on Facebook are there to be social. People on Pinterest are there to find interesting stuff, and they aren't offended if what they find is for sale. They're elated because they want to buy it. And that's another key difference between people on Facebook. People on Facebook are often offended by the ads and the sponsored ads and things that come up in their timeline because they're there to be social. They're there to look at their nieces and nephews' pictures and to connect with people that they didn't get to connect with during the day or during the week, and they're really not there to buy things. But people who are on Pinterest are over there to find things, to find solutions to their problems, and then to purchase those solutions. Now, to be successful on Pinterest, you need a strategy. So, here's the pinning strategy for success. First, use widgets on your website to promote other people pinning. Now, this image over on the right is actually a blog article for my website, and you'll see that there's a video marketing tip. This, again, is one of those tips that I talked to you about. It's mostly text, and then I just put that little film strip graphic image in it. You can create that over in PowerPoint, but what I wanted to point out here is that little pin it button at the top of the image. Now, when you insert those little widgets into your blog articles and on your website, then when people are over there reading those articles or finding things on your website, it makes it really easy for them to pin it to their Pinterest profiles and to share it with their followers. So that's a really great strategy to help build your business online. The second thing is to repurpose your existing content on your blog or website. I mentioned this before. Use the pin it button on your browser, go to your website, and pin every image that you have on there with some sort of a description and a call to action and all the things that you need to drive traffic back to your website. The third strategy is to create new content. Now again, I don't think you should be creating too much of your own content because it is so time consuming, but of course you'll want to create some. So let me give you a couple of free tools that you can use to help you create great content. Now I'm sure all of you have seen infographics before. These are just great graphical diagrams that take you generally through a sequence of steps and provide valuable information, and they're one of the most shared things on the internet. A free tool for creating infographics is Infogram. Another thing that you'll want to share on Pinterest, of course, is photos, and you can find free photos on morgfile.com. You can use, again, PowerPoint to put a message over photos and videos, and you can also create animated slideshow videos for free over on animoto.com. And all you need is some photos and some marketing copy, your marketing messages, and you can actually select music from their stock over there on animoto.com, and you put that all together and you can make some really slick looking videos that you can share over on Pinterest. The fourth thing that you'll want to do is to populate your Pinterest page with 10 boards, 5 pins in each board, and the top 2 rows should be your most popular pins. Now again, you're going to want to move your boards around based on the analytics that you get back after you have been on Pinterest for a little while. So, put in your top two rows, the boards and pins that you think are going to do the best, but then look at your Google Analytics, or I'm sorry, your Pinterest Analytics, and move them around as you see what people are responding to the most. You'll want to make sure that the things that they respond to the most are in your top two rows. Now, number 5 is probably the most important for driving traffic back to your websites with your pins. You need to always, always, always do this on every pin, and that's to put in your URL underneath the pin, to type in a description with focus keywords. So that does take a little bit of research beforehand to make sure that you are using your focus keywords in your pins. Use hashtags to help you get found. Use call to actions. So tell people what you want to do. Go to my website, click here to find out more. Things like that. Those are calls to action. And then type in the URL again in the description box right after your call to action. So your call to action should tell people what you want them to do with that clickable link that you're going to put in, that URL there in the description box. So now we're going to look at Michelle's pin. Michelle, you want to describe this pin and why you pinned it and give us a little bit of background information about that? Michelle, are you still with me? Let's see. I'm not seeing Michelle anymore. Oh, bummer. That. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll keep going. All right, so Michelle's computer crashed, so she's not on with us on the Google Hangout, but she is over on the call, so she can hear what's going on. But let me tell you a little bit about this pin. Michelle repinned this, and I believe it's a repin anyway. And she put in here 2 simple home offices in very little space, perfect for solopreneurs. Okay, so looking at this checklist over here on the left, this is the checklist that I just gave you. What things could Michelle have done to actually make this pin refer traffic back to her website? Well, first let's take a look at where it is referring traffic right now. The only link in here is this link down here that says found on cantyshanty.com. That's where this photo actually came from. But she could actually go in, if this were my account, I would see a little pencil right here, so Michelle would see a pencil right here, and she could go in and change this link. And she could put her website link. Now, what might be a great idea is for her to have actually written a small blog article about how simple home offices with very little space can help solopreneurs stay organized, and things like that. She might even have a couple of examples of other small space desk options and things, little office spaces. And so this could actually link to that article. That would be a great link to put there. So that's one thing that Michelle could have changed to make this image a clickable image that goes to her website. Because right now, if you click on it, it will go to cantyshanty.com. Now,
hey,
another
Becky,
thing
I'm back.
Oh, great.
I just wanted to let you know I'm back.
Good.
So,
thanks. I'm glad you're back on, Michelle.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. That was me. That was probably why I was hearing static. I think something was just going haywire. Anyway, so where it says found on Canty Shanty, I can actually change that. Yes. And change that, and I would put via michellechristiansen.com or something like that?
Well, all you have to do is, again, if this were your account, you would see a little pencil right here, which would mean that you could edit it. Mm-hmm. So you'd click on that pencil, and then all you have to do is type in your website URL. Now, what I was mentioning is that you could create a blog article about maybe how to create spaces for solopreneurs, how to create space when you don't have it. And you could maybe have other tips about organizing or things like that. So it could be a link to a blog article if you had something like that. Or it could just be a link back to your website, and it could just say, MichelleChristiansen.com.
Now, what's the issue? Like, let's say I like your idea of writing a blog post because it adds value. So say I wrote a blog post on how to make a workspace for yourself in a small space. I can't use this image because it's not mine.
Sure you can.
Is that all right?
You put an image credit. In fact, I actually like doing that better than changing the link here without any kind of way to give the original poster of this image some credit. So what I like to do is take the image, post it on my blog, write a blog article about it. There might even be more than one image, and then to pin them from my website, but on my website, right underneath it, I'll put the source URL. So they still get credit for their photo. You're not using it illegally. You're giving them the copyright credit for it, and then you're pinning it over here. Now once you do that, that link down here on the bottom will automatically be from that blog article. Because that's where you're pinning it from. You don't have to type anything in there. It's already, that's where it's coming from, so that's what's in there.
Wow, okay, that makes great sense. And I love the idea of not just putting an image up, but doing something to add value, like writing a blog article of original content and tips.
Exactly. And then down here in your description, you could write that. This blog article is, gives you 10 tips for creating an office in very little space, perfect for solopreneurs. Click here to read the full article, and then again put the article URL. So you have another clickable link down here. So now the image is clickable back to your blog article, and you have a clickable link down here that goes with a call to action that tells them exactly what you want them to do.
And now that I've already done this, can I go back and fix this?
Oh yeah, you can go do it right now.
Okay.
And again, it's just there. You will, if this was it is your pin. If this were my pin, I would see the little pencil mark right here, which would let me change that. But then you can also go up somewhere on the top, I believe. If this were my pin, it would say edit. And then you can go in and change this description and put that URL in. And you can also select there to, automatically post it to Facebook and Twitter too, again.
Right. Now, I see my description is just one line. It's about 8 or 10 words. How much space do you have, and what's the right amount to use? Because I would imagine you want your call to action and or link showing without having someone scroll down. Is that correct?
Yes and no. It's great if it's short in a way, because yes, then people won't miss it. But you could also put your link at the beginning. Put your link at the very beginning, and then put this blog article and start describing your blog article, and then they know right away where to link to. And you could put it again at the end. You can put your link in there as many times as you want to. I wouldn't overdo it. I wouldn't do it more than 2 times, but you could put it at the beginning, at the end. One reason why you may want to be more descriptive, though, than just one sentence is to really give people an idea of what's in that blog article. It depends on how good your teaser is, I guess. If you can do it in one line and give a good enough teaser that really makes people want to go, then that's great. But you may want to be a little bit more descriptive and use up more of the space that they give you. And also, again, make sure that your focus keywords are in there and that you put hashtags on your focus keywords, because that helps you be found not only easier on Pinterest, but in the Google searches as well.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. And all very doable. They give you tons of space there.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how much
I can't remember how many characters they give you, but it's quite a bit. You can put a pretty good description in there before you're cut off.
Yeah. But I liked your idea of, if you want to write a lengthier description, of putting a link and a really good one-sentence teaser in to start, because you don't know how much people are going to read. But this way you're kind of covered both ways. Right. If they want to read the whole thing, you're great. If they only want to read a link in a sentence, then you're good too. Right.
And you just have to remember that, search engines, whether it's the Pinterest search engine or the Google search engine or Bing or whatever, the only way they find you is through words. So, you don't want to be overly verbose just to use more words so that you get found, but you also do want to use enough descriptive words with your focus keywords that it helps you be found by those search engines.
Yeah, that's a good one too, to write naturally and write in a way that people are going to want to read it, but make sure it does have stuff in it to help the search engines find you.
Right. So those are the things that would make this pin a great traffic referral for Michelle's site. Now, if you look up at the top on the left by the little pin it button, it's been repinned 386 times. And how long ago did you pin this, Michelle?
You know, I'm looking
Last
at,
year?
it says 36 weeks ago.
Yeah, so that was almost a little over half a year ago.
Yeah.
But it's still a very relevant pin that people are. I noticed it got cut off here because I couldn't put on this image, but there was a comment on there from this week.
Yeah.
So people are still finding this pin and liking it.
If anything, it's actually started, I think, to accelerate its travels. Like I get notifications probably at least twice a week on this particular pin that it's been repinned, and I think it's one of those geometric things, like the more people that have pinned it, the more people can potentially see it.
Right. And the cool thing is, too, is once you see something like this, that maybe it was just a pin with a small description, and you see that it's getting so much traction and that people do like it, is to go ahead and create more content with that pin, like we were mentioning before. Create a blog or create a video message about, these home offices for solopreneurs. This gives you a good idea as to what your target market likes and is interested in and finding useful.
Oh, that's a great tip. You know, I actually have a board called Home Office for Solopreneurs. So could I write that blog post and then use this image and then repin it to that board?
Yeah, and that's another thing is when you write a blog post, and especially if you maybe put a couple of images in it, maybe you had this one and one other one that both were very visually descriptive of what a great organized home office could be for a solopreneur, and then you put those tips in there. You could actually pin them to multiple places on your Pinterest boards. If you have a Pinterest board that's called My Blog Articles, it could go there. If you have a Pinterest board that's called, what did you say, Small Office Spaces for Solopreneurs or something like that was your board name? So, you could pin it there. It's the same article and it's the same pin, but depending on what people are interested in, if they're interested in you personally and they want to know what you're writing, they'll find you under My Blog. But if they're more interested in home office spaces for solopreneurs, they'll find you over there on that board.
Interesting. And I like your point that it's kind of two different interest perspectives on the viewer's part. Like one of them is more about furniture and offices, and one is more about tips for solopreneurs, like blog articles.
Right. And people will find you based on where they're at and what their interest is. Again, Pinterest is about people pinning what they're interested in. That's where Pinterest gets its name. So if you have several interest boards that this same pin could fit in, you can go ahead and put it on those different boards, and different people with different interests will find it in different ways.
Oh, that's a great tip, because I mean, again, it's just such a great way to reuse the same content.
Right.
Wow. I got some work to do.
Me too. I still go back and find old pins and stuff that I pinned that I need to go back and change these things on. But that's the good news, is that you can always do that. It doesn't matter if you put something up last year. You don't need to think that it's not worth going back and pinning, because it may have just not gotten found because you didn't put in a good description. You didn't put in focus keywords that were hashtagged. Maybe you didn't get any referral traffic from it because none of your website information was anywhere on the pin. So go back and do those with the content that you already have and repin them and see if you get any more new traction from it.
I will do that, and that'll be an interesting little follow-up for this, like especially with this one with so many repins. That'll be really interesting to see what happens when I go back and make some of these changes you've described.
All right. So those are the things that I would suggest as far as your pin goes. Do you have any other questions for me, Michelle, before we move on?
Let me think. I don't think so. I can't think of anything. Yeah.
All right, great.
And if, for people watching the replay, by the time you see this, I may have made some of these changes. So you might, if you actually look at this pin on the internet, it will probably look different than what you're seeing on these slides, because I am going to actually make these changes.
Great. So that'll be fun for you to go over, find Michelle on Pinterest and look at this pin and see what the changes are.
Mm-hmm.
And then repin it while you're there.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Well, let me get back here to the slides. So, the good news for us as business owners and solopreneurs is that Pinterest hasn't become saturated. So we still have plenty of opportunities to make money over on Pinterest. And I'd like to help you become a successful solopreneur. This is something I came up with last night. I was so pleased with myself. You probably think I'm a nerd, which I am. But I like the fun on words. So anyway, I would love to help you maximize the opportunity that you have over on Pinterest. For those, let's see, I have a free 10-minute per week checklist of things that you can do on Pinterest, and I will put that out for everybody who joined the webinar. But I also want to provide you with the opportunity to take advantage of a training that I put together. It's a complete training system with a printable PDF guide plus 7 learning modules with over 15 video trainings. And I want to tell you a little bit about what's included in these video trainings. So in the video training, you'll learn how to set up and optimize your profile, your boards, and your pins so that you can get traffic fast. You'll also learn the strategies for creating pins that will get you results spending just 10 minutes a week, even if your business isn't very visual. As we talked about before, there are different ideas and things that you can do, even if you don't have that visual of a business, to create some very interesting pins that will drive traffic back to your websites. You'll learn how to use target market research. Again, it's really important for you to understand your target market, what your focus keywords are, and what the interests are of your target market. And I teach a secret strategy that's already done for you. It only takes you about 5 minutes, and you're going to know more information about your target market than you ever did before. That's going to help you excel beyond your competitors. You'll find a step-by-step plan for getting targeted followers fast. The kind of followers that want what you're offering and share that with all the people that they know as well. I give you ideas for your boards to help you sell services. There's tutorials for other tools, like I mentioned before, Pinwood, that will help you to amplify your results on Pinterest. I'll show you how to get site visitors to pin your content for more massive visibility and sales. And I'll go over some of the legal and copyright mistakes and how you can avoid them. So who is the training program for? Well, it's really for anyone who wants to easily get clients online, get results marketing on Pinterest in a short amount of time, and it's for anyone who wants to go beyond the basics of Pinterest account setup and basic pinning to learn really proven strategies for generating results from your Pinterest work. I break it all down for you step by step so that I can help you eliminate that time-sucking frustration and overwhelm that we often all feel when we start something new. You won't need to waste your time trying to figure it out on your own, because I've put it all together for you in a way that's very easily understood and easy to implement. Now, just getting 100 new leads every week would be worth probably hundreds of dollars to most businesses, and I would generally charge $497 for a membership of this scale because it has so much information in it. But for this webinar, and this offer expires in 3 days, I'm going to offer it for the ridiculously low price of $127. Now, this is a risk-free investment that comes with a few additional goodies. 3 bonuses. Number 1 is a special report with 7 stealth tactics to get you results really fast. Number 2 is a cheat sheet with a handy checklist so that you can print it out and easily take action in every step of the process. Number 3 is a Pinterest marketing mind map so that you know exactly where you're going and what's going to happen next and all that kind of good stuff. Now, I have those 3 bonuses, but Michelle has some extra bonuses for you that she's offering today. You want to go over your bonuses, Michelle?
Sure. So I am offering an ebook called Five Essential Skills for Solopreneur Success. And this is an ebook that tells you the 5 skills you must master aside from what you do for customers in order to have a successful solopreneur business. These are kind of the higher level CEO type business skills that you need. And even though you're a one-person operation, you still do need to have these executive and business skills. So that's the first thing, is you get my ebook, 5 Essential Skills for Solopreneur Success. And you also get my Solopreneur Checklist Super Pack. And this is a super pack of checklists to use for common solopreneur business events, things like writing a blog post or taking a photo. And you get 11 checklists in total, and including one checklist that was made by Becky called 7 Steps for Powerful Pins. So that's really a great way to be very efficient with your time when you're repeating processes over and over, is to use a checklist. And I give you 11 that I actually use in my own business.
Wow, that sounds like great material, something that all solopreneurs can use. So thanks for adding those bonuses, Michelle. So how do people get the bonuses again?
You can just forward me your receipt once you make the purchase of the Pinterest marketing for a business marketing with Pinterest system, and then I'll reply with 2 PDFs attached.
Okay, so if you're watching this over on my website, there's a green button right below the video player that you can click on. It will take you right to the sales page, and you can go ahead and make that purchase now. Again, you get the entire video training system with my 3 bonuses and Michelle's bonuses, and I'm going to add one other fast action bonus, and that is a special Pinterest marketing strategy webinar at the end of March, where I'm only going to invite people who took fast action on my webinars this month, and I'm going to answer all of your questions there, so you'll be able to dive into the system as soon as you get access to it today. And then at the end of the month, you'll probably have some questions and need some direction. I'll be on the call live. I'll answer your questions. But I'm also going to give 3 people the chance to be picked to have their Pinterest page and pins evaluated during the call. So that is another fast action bonus that I'm adding. Again, your risk is absolutely none, because this entire package comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can try it out. If you're not satisfied with your results in 30 days, then I'd be happy to refund your money, because I do, in the end, want you to get results. That is the bottom line for me. Now, I do want to finish up with this webinar with talking about the 3 big mistakes that businesses make and how you can avoid them, and also the one that will get you banned. So let's move into that.
Let's just go through that. Number 1. The button that they can use if they're not watching the live version right now, the bit.ly.com.
Oh, if they're not watching it over on my website, you can go to the bit.ly, so it's bit.ly /solopreneur. So let me go back on the slide. You can see it here, right in the middle.
It's
bit.ly /solopreneur, SOLOPINEUR.
Yeah, I had to just say that word again.
Yep, solopreneur. I like it. Solopreneur.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
That was Becky's creation. I got to give her credit for that. That was very clever.
And that's exactly how it came about. Is I was creating that link for today, and I was like, what could we call it that'd be cool and creative? And that came out. I was excited about that. And again, there is a green button right underneath the video player. If you're on the website, you can just click that, and you will automatically be taken to the page where you can purchase it. Again, once you purchase it, everything is in the membership already ready for you. This isn't drip fed. You don't get a little bit at a time. It's all there. You can dive into it, and you can be really up and going on Pinterest this week. Okay,
wow.
So let's get to these 3 biggest mistakes. One is an incomplete Pinterest profile. You've probably heard this from other social media marketers who train people on how to use social media. It's true across the board. Doesn't matter what social media site you're on. You need to complete your Pinterest profile. You need to fill it out completely, because that's what people look at, and if it's not filled out, they're not going to take you seriously, and they're not going to come back. They're not going to follow you because you're not complete over there on Pinterest. So be sure and do that. And again, use your focus keywords in your profile description. Number 2 is having irrelevant or empty or incomplete boards. Again, when you create a board, you should have at least 4 or 5 pins on there to fill it up, because over on Pinterest, when you see a board, if it doesn't have at least 4 or 5 pins, you'll just see these empty thumbnails, and it makes it just look like you're really not an active person on Pinterest. So wait to create a new board until you have 4 or 5 things to put on there, and then again, make sure that your content that you're putting there is relevant to the interests of your target market. So understanding their interests is key to having relevant boards. And then the number 3 biggest mistake is that the pins are not linked to the URL, which we mentioned when we went over Michelle's pin. If you don't have those links in that take them back to your website, even if you've repinned somebody else's stuff, you need to have your link somewhere in there to take them back to your website, then that pin isn't going to do you a lot of good. It may get you some attention because you'll still be the person who repinned it, but it won't send people back to your websites, and that, again, is what we're there for at the end of the day, is to drive traffic back to our websites. Now, the one thing that can get you banned is using a personal Pinterest account for commercial interests. The Pinterest Terms of Service Agreement for personal accounts asks that you not post anything that's of commercial nature or promoting your business. So open a business account. You can still use your name, but in order to avoid having any problems with the Terms of Service Agreement, go ahead and open up a business account instead of using your personal account to post things about your business. You can have both, but just keep your personal account more personal and use your business account to promote your business. Now, if you have a personal account and you've already got a lot of success on it, lots of repins and people liking it and lots of followers, and you think, well, I don't want to now start a new Pinterest business page and lose all this momentum, you don't have to. There is a very easy way that you can convert your personal Pinterest page into a business page. I teach that in the membership training program, but I'll just mention quickly that when you log in, you will see in your settings the ability to switch your account from a personal one to a business one. It happens seamlessly when you do it. So that's it. We have covered everything, and I'm hoping that we have some great questions that we can also answer for all of you. So Michelle, if you want to look at the questions and answers on the website, I'm going to go over to Google and see if there's anybody over there who has any questions for us.
I am not seeing any questions on my end. I'm on the Manage Questions tab.
Okay, I have a question. Somebody's asking with the PowerPoint what the dimension should be. Do you just leave it like the big PowerPoint slide, or do you change the dimensions on it? I typically change the dimensions, and I think it's something like 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And then I go ahead and create my pins that way. You can leave it bigger, but it may get cropped and look somewhat funny over on Pinterest. It just depends. So you can play with it and see, but I generally do change those dimensions when I create it over in Pinterest.
And is there some rule about whether you should use a portrait or landscape orientation on Pinterest?
Well, if you look at the pins on Pinterest, they are mostly the portrait variety. They tend to be longer rather than wider. So that's something to keep in mind. But, you know, the one thing is when you click on a pin, it does expand bigger if it is a bigger image than what you're seeing. But again, that can lead to some cropping that can be weird. So it's kind of better to try to stick within some of those dimensions.
Gotcha.
That you typically see.
Well, we've been on for an hour and a half, so I guess we've answered all the questions.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate everybody who's been on. Michelle, I appreciate you putting this together. It's been really fun being on and being able to critique that pin that you had was really great. Do you have anything else that you'd like to say to our audience?
No, and thank you for coming to do this training. I think this, for so many reasons you mentioned, Pinterest is a great tool for solopreneurs, and I myself have actually really narrowed my social media efforts this year to include Pinterest and just one other site where I'm getting results, and it's because of all the reasons you mentioned, because I do think it's just really powerful, and the potential, it's a great fit for solopreneurs. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to move forward with my Pinterest activities and to keep learning from you and your system.
Well, thanks, Michelle. That's good to hear. I really enjoy hearing back from people what the results are. So as you get going in the program, please, you'll be getting emails from me, and go ahead and reply back and let me know how things are going, because I really do love hearing the results that people are getting, and it also helps me to improve things in the membership if you have questions and things like that. So again, I hope that you'll take advantage of the opportunity to get going on Pinterest and to do it in a way that will be less frustrating for you, and using the strategies and techniques that I put together in the membership. Here's the link again. You can access it at bit.ly/solopreneur. Or if you're watching this over on the website, go ahead and click the green button right underneath the video player, and that will take you straight over to the sales page. And again, be sure and forward your receipt over to Michelle, and she will get you her bonuses. So lots of great stuff there. I appreciate everybody who's been on the call.
Okay, so as it turns out, there were a few questions that we missed. So we're going to go ahead and answer those questions, and then we will put those in the recording. So if you're listening to the replay after listening to the live webinar, it might be a little bit different. So Becky, what's our first question?
All right, we had a question from Tamar, and Tamar's wondering if people use hashtags a great deal on Pinterest, like on Twitter and Google+. Hashtags are kind of new to Pinterest, but they definitely are very usable, just like they are on Pinterest, on Twitter and Google+. And they do help you get found easier. So you want to be sure and put them on your focus keywords. And if you haven't done it on previous pins, when you go back to change your pins and put the URLs in, like we talked about during the webinar, just go back and pick out some of your focus keywords that you could put hashtags on. That will help you get those pins found better. So it's kind of new, but definitely use them. They're very useful, and they do help you get found both on Pinterest and in Google searches.
Great.
And we also had another question. Somebody said, this is a fantastic presentation. Is it being recorded? There's so much great info that I would love to go back and review. And I believe that was from Claire. Claire, we are recording it, and we are going to splice in this Q&A section. And so, yes, you will be able to review it. And again, there's so much information on it that really, even if you take the information that's just on the webinar, you'll be able to get going on Pinterest. But I invite you to take a look at the training course and to get started with that as well, so you can really get that traction that you're looking for with Pinterest. And let's see. Somebody else has a sales page that they want to add to their Pinterest page, but they can't figure out exactly how to post it there. Again, I think the easiest way, if you already have pages over on your website, whether they're sales pages or blog pages or just some of the different pages that you have on your website, is to take that and get that pin it button that you can get from Pinterest. Just go to Google and do a search for the pin it button, and you'll end up over on Pinterest.com to their resource page, and then you just click on that button that you want to install the pin it button on your browser, and it will detect what browser that you have, and then as soon as that's in your browser, you're able to go and pin from any website, whether it's your own or it's somebody else's, anywhere that you are on the internet. And that's probably the easiest way, if you've already got pages created, is to just go ahead and get that pin it button inserted into your browser, and then go to the page that you want to pin, hit the pin it button, and go ahead and create that pin and put it over on Pinterest. That's it. I think we've covered the questions now. So thank you everybody for asking questions. It's always great to hear the feedback, and also I'm sure that other people have the same questions that you do, so it's great opportunity for other people to get their questions answered as well.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up then. Again, thank you for everybody who was on the webinar live, and for those of you who are watching the replay, I hope you enjoy it, and the links are live for you as well. You can go ahead and grab the membership training course. So we will go ahead and end our broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you.